Hi, I'm here today to talk about some research in linguistics. The title of my presentation today is Boosting Understanding of ASL Fingerspelling. Can Looking at the Hands Help? My name is Hannah Cheloha, and I teach American Sign Language online. I teach at Arizona State University. I'm very interested in fingerspelling because it presents such a challenge for students. I'm very much interested in doing a study that will give me some information about how I can be a better teacher and how I can help my students be more successful. So one strategy that interpreters and teachers use when fingerspelling is eye gaze indexing. Eye gaze indexing means that I look at my hand while I'm fingerspelling. So what's the big question I'm trying to answer? Does eye gaze indexing improve student comprehension of fingerspelling tasks? I'm using eye gaze tracking to see how students react when I fingerspell a word and I use eye gaze indexing compared to when I don't use eye gaze indexing and I look at the camera instead. Once I have this data, I want to look at whether or not the students use different eye gaze patterns when I look at my hand using eye gaze indexing. And if they do, does that in any way affect their performance on fingerspelling tasks? Why is this question important? Well, it will help us know whether using eye gaze indexing is an effective strategy to help students perform better. For this study, I had students come into the lab. We had the eye gaze GT gaze point tracker set up on a laptop. The students sat down at the computer with the eye gaze tracker in front of them. Students entered the answers to each question in Canvas using their phone. This way, I was able to record the eye tracking data on the laptop and the test score results on the phone at the same time. I separated the students into two groups, groups 1 and group 2. Both groups received videos that had eye gaze indexing and videos that had no eye gaze indexing. Using a t-test, I analyzed whether there was any difference between the students' performance on these two situations, and the results showed that there was no difference. In order to get a better idea of how the eye gaze is affecting or not affecting their scores, I wanted to look more closely at the eye gaze data. So I looked very closely at the number of seconds that the students viewed my hand area while I was fingerspelling, the percentage of time that they viewed my hand, the number of fixations on my hand, and the number of revisits that the students had while I was fingerspelling. My data shows that the students had no difference whether I looked at my hand or not. They looked at my hand the same amount. After the data collection was complete, I asked the students a few post-interview questions. One of the questions was, what did you look at while viewing the ASL clips? Most students said that they looked at my face while I was signing and at my hand while I was fingerspelling. You can see from the heat map that this bears out to be true. The students knew where they were looking. They had a pretty good understanding of what their own behaviors are. The last question I asked was, do you think that the eye gaze made understanding easier, harder, or no difference? The majority of the students said no difference. So what are the real-world applications of this study? My takeaway as a teacher is that maybe eye gaze indexing isn't that helpful. This data is so important because it's going to help teachers like me to understand how eye gaze indexing relates to fingerspelling and fingerspelling comprehension. I would like to thank the Linguistic Society of America for having me create this video for you all. And also would like to thank my chair and committee. Would also like to thank the language lab at Arizona State University. I would also like to encourage anybody who's interested in sign language, studying linguistics of sign language, to continue doing amazing work in this area. It is very understudied and we need more information. And hopefully I've contributed some, but we could use a lot more. So I hope if you're out there and you're watching this and you're interested in sign language and you're interested in linguistics, this might inspire you. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I really appreciate all your time. If you have any questions, you can email me at hannah.cheloha@asu.edu, and I would be happy to answer your questions.